Thank you so much for joining me, Gillian. I know this is a really tough time for you. So just to start off, could you just tell me a little bit about your stepson, why he was in Israel, what part, and how long did he live there?
Yeah. So Sagi was born in Israel. He was born on Kibbutz Nir Oz, which is the kibbutz that was invaded by Hamas on Saturday morning. It is one of the kibbutzim on the Gaza Ring in the south of Israel. My husband is a dual citizen, Israeli American, as is Sagi, as are my three other stepchildren. And my husband's home is on Kibbutz Nir Oz. Our home in Israel is on Kibbutz Nir Oz. Sagi was born there, grew up there along with his siblings. So he is a lifelong member of the kibbutz. That's what he was doing there that day with his wife, pregnant wife, and two children living peacefully in their house on the kibbutz.
So could you tell me about when you knew something was wrong?
My husband actually was here. He's a university professor at Hebrew University in Jerusalem. He was here. He was going to go to a conference in New Jersey, and we were at a wedding in Baltimore. And we woke up on Saturday morning. It actually woke me up to a text from a good friend of ours saying, "I hope you and John are okay and everybody's okay." And we just said, I said, "What?" I woke him up and said, "Something's going on." And immediately we saw all the texts and emails and news about what was happening on the kibbutz, and of course all over the south.
Right.
And that's how we found out.
And you tried to get in contact with your stepson.
We immediately tried to get in contact with all the kids, with everyone. And it was hard, and it was chaotic, and we understood very quickly that Sagi was missing. And my stepdaughter, her husband, their kids were there. His wife and kids were safe. We understood, but no one had seen Sagi. And that's when we understood that he was missing. And of course, it was incredibly chaotic. Things were still unfolding on Saturday. Even in the evening or late afternoon, their time, when we finally were in touch with them, people were still cowering in their safe rooms. They were trying to evacuate them. When the army finally came they evacuated them into an internal place on the kibbutz where they could bring everyone who was still alive and still there together to guard them better. And it wasn't until the next day or the day after that they actually evacuated them off the kibbutz. But it was we understood it to be absolutely horrendous, horrific there, and we were aware that there were a lot of people dead and missing, even as early as Saturday when we were talking to the kids. And we certainly knew Sagi was missing and hadn't been seen, and we were frantic.
So you mentioned you have kids still there. So what's it like for them right now? Where are they? How are they?
So my stepdaughter also lives on the kibbutz with her husband and her kids, and they and Sagi's wife and their kids were evacuated down to the south in a lot to a big hotel. I think a lot of the kibbutzim that's where they went, and they're traumatized. They're devastated. They're trying to be strong. They have little kids, a lot of little kids. But I mean, in addition to this horrific situation with Sagi missing, you have to understand that there were 400 people on Kibbutz Nir Oz on Saturday morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, and 160 made it down to Eilat. So we are talking about an unbelievable number of friends, close, dear friends, lifelong friends, family members who are dead or missing. And they had to see it. They had to see it when they ran to shelter, when they ran to the buses to be evacuated. They saw everything. And in addition to that, the kibbutz is destroyed. They burned pretty much every house. They looted and ransacked and smashed every house on the kibbutz. It's not inhabitable anymore. So everything that they owned is also gone. So it's how are they doing? I think they are trying to keep it together. My other stepdaughter and stepson do not live on the kibbutz with their families. They live north and in another area. But they are going down to join them now this coming weekend so that everybody can be together.
Right. And where do you think Sagi may be?
I have absolutely no idea. I mean, the kibbutz is, it's interesting. In the New York Times today, they had a really good map showing the kibbutzim on the border where most of the casualties were, and Nero's, our kibbutz, was one of them. And you can see that the breach in the fence by Nero's was directly in front of the kibbutz. So it would have taken them 10 minutes to get across, not even to get across the fields into the kibbutz. So we've seen films of people being taken by Hamas into Gaza. Nobody saw Sagi being taken, but we know he's not on the kibbutz and we know he's not in the area. And so I guess we can only assume that he's in Gaza.
Right. And how are you? How have your feelings been throughout all of this?
I am numb, and I gotta be honest, at this point I'm like, I can't wrap my head around it. I can't wrap my head around what happened, and that Siggy is missing and we can't find him, that friends and loved ones are dead or missing with their children. I'm terrified for my kids still there, my stepkids, my husband, who got somehow got a plane flight out on Monday to get down there to be with them. Yeah, I'm terrified. I don't know what else to say. I'm trying to put one foot in front of the other. And one thing is, we're doers, and right now what needs to be done is to keep Sagi's name front and center, all the hostages, make sure that everyone is paying attention and it's not getting lost like in the fog of war. So I guess that's where I'm focused right now.
Great. And you mentioned you're a doer, and I think that's a good thing. So what are some of the other things that you've been doing to make sure that his name has been front and center?
Yeah, so I mean, I've been trying to work every possible media outlet that I can and reaching out to friends to get more connections. And I'm grateful to you. And every time we can, get his name out and the story out, I've contacted every politician. I've been in touch with Buchanan's office and Stubbe's office, and we've been sending out form letters to all of our friends to push with all of their elected. So I don't know, we're in 40 states here, keeping the pressure on and just making sure that folks are aware. My husband in Israel, I think he has been on every possible media channel there is. You may have seen him on CNN. He was one of the people in that press conference. That was my husband talking about Sagi, and in touch with the State Department, the consulate. We're doing everything we can to just make sure that we're connected in every possible way to anybody or any institution or entity that's touching this question right now, about getting hostages, American, Israeli, whatever, hostages out of Gaza and finding them and keeping them safe. So, I mean, we're just doing as much as we can, sort of on every public front that we can.
All right. And is there anything else you'd like to mention that you feel we didn't cover or other news outlets haven't covered yet?
I guess I just feel like maybe a couple have, but as the story is unfolded, for us, as it has for so many families, it really has unfolded since Saturday. There's a layer after layer that keeps getting, I guess, peeled back for us to understand what happened. And I know we're reading about all the atrocities and the butchering and the abductions, and I know that, but I think that I want to just humanize Sagi a little bit about who he is and what happened. We understand now, which we didn't understand until maybe yesterday, that after Sagi got his wife and children and his two little girls into the bomb shelter, the safe room in their house, he went out into the house and out into the streets, and with a small group of people, they fought to try to save the kibbutz, and for hours. And all of them are missing. All of them. They're not dead. They're missing. And just that was really who Siggy was, really such a brave and passionate young man who loves his family and his community. And sorry, it's really hard.
Oh no, I completely understand. I'm
Sorry.
sorry.
Yeah, that behind all of these people, there's humans, because it's so easy to start to dehumanize the 150 hostages, the hundreds of people dead, but just, I guess I wanted to share that, he's a real person who fought really bravely, and yeah, we just want to know where he is and that he's okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much for speaking with me, Gillian. I know this was very hard, but I think it's a very important
Yes.
story.
Of course. And anything else that you want to ask me, you can, if I'm okay with that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we pretty much covered it. Is there a message you'd like to send to maybe state legislators that you've been in contact with? What do you want to see happen?
Yeah, thanks for that. People have really been responsive, I have to say. I've been pretty impressed with with the I'm an activist my whole life, right? And so I'm used to like hammering at politicians' offices and them not responding. And so it really has been amazing to see the response and the solidarity. And my message is just don't forget our loved ones who are missing and captive. Don't forget that they're there. Keep them front and center in your minds, in your hearts, and in your actions as we're moving into, I don't even know, even bigger catastrophe and war right now. So that would be my message. Just keep them front and center.
All right. Well, thank